What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another deck profile here on TCGU University for the card game UniVersus. My name's Tam, and today I'm going to be going over Jeff's Van Helsing deck from the new Grim Fairy Tales DLC. If you want to see this deck in action, make sure you go out to the DLC and More Campus Championship. It has its own playlist here on the channel. And so with that, let's jump into it. All right, so this is Van Helsing. Let me give you the elevator pitch of this deck and the design behind it. So what Jeff said he wanted to go for is he really wanted to capitalize on the commit draw X cards. X equals the attack. This attack's stun rating. And so there's a lot of cheeky ways to get around that, as well as having enough cards in your hand in order to make the discard one card, change the zone of the attack, +1 damage for each weapon in the card pool, worth it. And so making sure that we get to constantly have cards in our hand by committing our character and then drawing a bunch of cards and then pushing damage through and making sure my opponent doesn't have a board, but being quick enough on the draw. A lot of cool stuff happening in the Van Helsing deck. And basically, I just want to have a million cards in my hand so I can have as many options as possible. There's the elevator pitch. If you like drawing cards, this is the character for you. So let's talk about the attacks. So the first attack we're playing is 3 Prism Storm of Torment. This card says Deadlock, Stun 7. So when you jam this guy out on turn 2, you check your 5, you commit your 2 foundations, you commit Van Helsing. This says that you get to draw 7 cards. That's so many cards. That's more than your starting hand size. So you become a 13 hand size character for 1 turn, and then it's a 7 high for 7 that my opponent has to deal with normally on turn 2, turn 3. In addition to that, it also says if this would be the 7th card that you play, you just get to play it for free. And so it's super easy to play Prism Storm, commit Van Helsing, draw your 7 more cards, find 6 more cards that we can play, and then just, or find 5 more cards we can play, and then just jam out a second Prism Storm. So that's 14 damage on turn 1, turn 2 that they just have to deal with. And that includes just playing out a bunch of foundations that make sure that I'll die next turn. So this card could possibly be a 3 of, but seeing it too much might be an issue. Seeing it too little is an issue because I want to draw my 7 cards. This card's super, super fun. If anybody ever out there says draw 7's not fun, you're just playing the wrong game. All right, next we're playing a triple Stakeout. This card is Van Helsing's attack, her bread and butter. It has stun 2, and if you discard a momentum, it gets +2 to its stun rating. And so it's possible that Stakeout by itself says draw 4 cards, and then if it deals damage, they lose vitality equal to its stun rating. It starts at base 3. It's possible it could have 4, so they could be it could have stun 6, or excuse me, stun 4. So it's possible this thing can just like do 7 damage. Even on the half block, it does 6. Like, it's really, really good stuff. Really solid attack. This card by itself just makes the DLC totally worth it. Up next, we've got Triple Hyper Bomb. This card just opens up my opponent. It's got stun 2. It has to be blocked. It is a weapon so that the plus damage works out. And then changing the zone is super good. As well as commit a foundation if my vitality is less than yours, destroy a card. It's also super good. Very solid, solid opening attack. Really good stuff. Up next, we're playing some of Mehnaz Support because she loves dealing with committing my opponent's cards. And this character is based on the keyword stun. Enhance. This deck gets 1 damage for each foundation my opponent's committed to this enhanced step. So it's got stun 1, so it gets +1 damage by itself. And then if it's not blocked, it gets to draw an additional cards. Man, drawing cards is really fun. That's just what this deck wants to do. It wants to draw cards, wants to commit my opponent's staging area. Good stuff. Up next, we're playing 4 Violet Squall. Excuse me, Violet? Yeah, there's no N there. Combo enhance with a weapon. Everything in our deck is a weapon except for Prism Storm. Enhance, commit one of my opponent's foundations off the combo, and then enhance, draw a card, only playable if I've got an asset. We are playing a few assets, which I'll get to after attacks. But this is a solid card. It's got a good mid block. It's a 3 mid for 5. It says it combos with a weapon. There's a lot of value inside of this card as a 4 diff. And then, it's 4 Squalls, not 3. And then 3. Lightning Fang. A Lightning Fang is a charge stun 1 weapon. Enhance as attack is not completely blocked. Freeze one of my opponent's committed foundations. It has stun 1. Freeze means that the card is not unready during the ready step. And then Deadlock Enhance gets a speed and a damage for each of my opponent's committed foundations. Just a little bit of deadlock pressure to make sure that you can't outbuild her. One of Van Helsing's big issues is she draws 7 and then doesn't quite know what to do with all of these cards. If she doesn't draw enough attacks or doesn't have enough resources to play them, it's possible she just builds into some pretty deadlock stuff. And the way that you beat deadlock is going into deadlock yourself. Yeah, so good solid card. So those are all of the attacks. The goal is draw 7 and then play out a big attack string of cool stunning, extra stun, extra weapon attacks. Onto the assets, we're playing one Bone Splitter. What Bone Splitter says is assets are really, really strong, and our character and our stage and our attacks are getting rid of my opponent's foundations. This card gets rid of my opponent's assets. The only way that they can beat me is with their assets. So I'll form commit one of their assets, and then this card says that assets can't ready. So really good stuff. Really, really strong ability on this card. In addition to that, we're playing triple a Flambert. Because of Van Helsing being able to change zones, this says +2 speed sometimes. It says discard a card +2 speed plus X damage. If not, it's also just -1 speed or +1 speed depending, and maybe that +1, -1 is what gets you there. We're playing 2 Omega Sword and Elk Shield. It's really simple to build this in your staging area after you've drawn 7 and have 1 in hand, 1 in staging, and then just have 2 really, really solid blocks. So only letting 1 damage through. Good stuff. We're playing into our foundations, triple Delta Blue Team Leader. This card says my attack, my high, my mid, my low attack gets +1 damage. Each is separate enhances. So what I can do with Van Helsing is take and play in a high attack, give it 1 damage, discard my card, make it a low, give it +1 damage. And so not only did Van Helsing give it damage if it was a weapon, but Delta Leader is also giving +2 damage. Do we need 3 of? Maybe not. It is a unique card, so make sure it really is personal preference at that point. The hypest card in the deck, we've got 4 Hidden Behind Flames. This card says after it's discarded, get +2 or -2 speed. And so we can just enhance, discard a card, change the zone of the attack. And so now it gets a +2 or -2 as well as the extra damage. Really, really neat find. Plus a little bit more deadlock pressure. We're playing 4 Passing the Torch. Like I said, drawing cards is real, real hype. Just commit, draw an extra card. There's no way you're going to have 0 cards in your hand. You just drew 7. But maybe you need to do that extra one to get you there. We're playing 3 Never a Day Without Training. Once again, drawing more cards, filtering out, making sure that we have in our hand on our discard pile what it is that we need. If you've got more, if you got an asset, draw a card. If not, it's just flip, discard 1, draw 1. Playing 2 Solemn Exorcism. Weapon attacks are all over the place, and so being able to block with this 2 high on a breaker, 2 high on a weapon attack and give it breaker 2, or if you're facing off against a discard deck like a void deck, you just don't have any cards in your hand. Enhance commit. If you don't have a hand, draw 1. Pretty solid. Really solid. We're playing 1 Last of His Kind. Enhance, lose 2 vitality. This attack gets -4 damage, or Desperation Enhance +2 damage, or Deadlock Enhance +2 damage. It's either +4 damage if you're a Desperation Deadlock, or -2 damage because we paid low vitality in order to make it happen. It's a solid defense card if we can't block. We're playing triple Unlikely Romance. This card says enhance flip. This attack gets +1 or -1 to its stun rating. And so on my turn, we could take, and this says basically I'll draw 3 additional cards off of Van Helsing. Or it's anti-foundation destruction, which we want to have our foundations in order to make sure that we can play our big attack strings. We worked hard to get those foundations. We want to keep them. We're also playing double Ageless and Wise. This card says if a foundation would leave our staging area, we stop that ability. It's really, really good, especially on texts that have ancillary that card leaves your staging area abilities. Like I know I lost in this tournament as Midoriya when I tried to dodge him, and I paid my X vitality, and he just canceled it with Ageless and Wise. And so then I took the damage as well as paid, and it was game. Playing triple Fei, just a beautiful card for us to draw and build out, flip -3 more speed to make sure that with the extra 6, 7 cards that I have in my hand from playing a Storm of Torment, I get to block with those cards. It's really easy to draw a bunch of cards and not know what to do with them. This card says I know what to do. It's keep my vitality up. Next, we're playing 2 World Without Battle. This is the same card as Fei, except for sometimes it is +2 speed because all of our cards have the keyword stun on them. Asterisks, most of them do at least. Desperation of at least 1 face down card in your card pool. Draw a card. Not relevant to the ability, relevant to this deck, but I mean, sometimes it might be useful. Depends on what my opponent does. We're playing triple Betrayed by the Family. This card says that my opponent's not allowed to interact with the speed or damage on my cards, or else I'm just going to commit more cards. And I'm committing the cards as opposed to the stun saying they commit cards. They use Telekinetic Mastery after I give my attack 2 damage. Well, I'll respond, commit, and I'll commit your Telekinetic Mastery. And then on your turn, this card readies back up, so I have really good block zones. I think this is one of the most underrated cards in the entire game. People should be testing this card out at least a 2 of in most of their decks. I believe. Next, we're playing Winter Rose. It's just really good spam. It's a 0-6 with this 2-low block. Not much to say. The ability is not super relevant, but after I draw my 7 cards, I want to be able to build out as much as I can. And having low difficulty foundations means that I get to accomplish that. Double Manifestation. I can't remember if there's any commit for a cost stuff. So this might be just anti-stun deterrent. This might just be stun deterrent. If I get stunned, I also commit their stuff so that when it's my turn once again, I get to do more stuff. As well as this is a good 6. And I got a 1-6 here. I got a 0-6 there. Good stuff. Last bit of defense, we've got refusing to let go at a 1 of enhanced commit. If it attacks real big, you make it not real big, and then sometimes it just says commit plus 2 damage. Do what you gotta do, or reset your damage back to where it was. There's plenty of cards that say put the damage to 0, right? And so this card just says actually it's printed plus 2, and so relevant. And then my last card is 1 God of Thunder, enhanced destroy. Ready a foundation. Playable while committed. This card is really, really solid just because it lets you hit these really big attack strings with all these foundations you don't know what to do with. And that card keeps you out of deadlock, which is a problem Van Helsing might have if whenever she draws her 7, she doesn't find very much orange. She just draws a bunch of foundations. And so building into 13 foundations, get this God of Thunder out, we can just start whittling away back down to a healthy 10. 2, 1. All right, so this was Jeff's Van Helsing deck. If you liked the deck or you have any comments or thoughts, let us know down in the comments down below. If you want to see the deck in action, like I said at the top, make sure you go out to the DLC and more Campus Championship we have out here on the channel and get to see the Van Helsing deck in action. If you want to have a real conversation about it, make sure you go out to patreon.com/TCGUniversity and subscribe at least the $1 level, and you get access to our Discord where you can bug me all day about your cool Van Helsing tech. So, from all of us here at TCG University, thank you very much for watching, and stay learned.